Marcus Ericsson gets his first ever IndyCar win, but it's not without controversy. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So anyways, today was the first race of the Detroit Grand Prix doubleheader. Marcus Ericsson ended up winning. But like I said, it wasn't without controversy. We'll get into that in a minute. So another thing I actually wanted to mention here that I forgot to put in the video, NBC's just, like, the way they covered the race in terms of just having it on a channel. They actually missed the start of the race, so I had the video up there for the start of the video, but if you're watching on NBC or anything else for that matter, they missed the start of the race because we really had to watch lacrosse overtime and then 3 minutes of ads after that and came in at the end of lap 1. And the race was on NBC too. It wasn't like this was some type of NBCSN pushover race that they were like, well, it's fine if we missed the first lap. I mean, if you have a race on NBC, you might as well have the race on NBC. Yeah, but from the Rosenqvist crash, we had the race going way past schedule. And then the Grosjean crash made it go even more past schedule. But they kept it on NBC the whole time. Props to NBC for that, though, because they had some type of Olympic diving finals on that they moved over to CNBC for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. That was nice. I'm glad that they didn't move the race over to NBC or over to NBCSN or CNBC or something. That's always stupid when they do that. I hate that. Like, I'm just glad they finished the race on NBC. I still don't know why they don't block out at least 2.5 hours for, like, stuff like that. The fact they have a 2-hour window for pre-race stuff, the actual race, and any type of, like, the race going long or whatever, the fact that they only have 2 hours for that is a little weird. But, I don't know. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the video. Just quick rundown of the race. In the beginning, you had guys like Joseph Newgarden and Hunter Ray having issues with their car, mechanical issues or whatever. Joseph Newgarden had actually looked like he lost a rear tire going down the backstretch or whatever. I might have a video of that up here. And he ended up having to come in and pit. He didn't go a lap down, though, surprisingly. So he was able to stay somewhat within the race. And he ended up coming back and finishing on the lead lap in 10th. So it was an okay race for Newgarden. Quite a good job for him to get back up through the field. But the other guys like Hunter Ray, I think Hunter Ray finished 6 laps down. Chilton, I guess, who had also had mechanical issues, was like 4 or 5 laps down. There was, I think, Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson had also had some mechanical issues that he was like 15 laps down or something. They had fixed all that stuff eventually, but it took him a while. So getting into the other parts of the race, around lap 25, Felix Rosenqvist had a scary crash where he, going through the corner onto the backstretch, he had apparently gotten his throttle stuck open, like in the middle of the corner. Like he had started braking and then the car just full throttle into the barrier. I mean, it was scary. He like almost mounted the barrier and like was like the fence looked like it had some type of damage. It was like bent back or whatever. If he was going much faster, he might have like jumped over that fence or like broken through it and gone out of the track, which would have been, I guess, pretty scary. So overall, it was like an hour and a half long red flag to get all the stuff cleaned up. They had, I think they had to replace the tire barrier. They also had to replace a concrete wall behind the tire barrier, and they might have also had to do some repair work on the fence because his car had gone up like if this is the tire barrier right here, the car got up like this on top of it, so they probably had to do some type of replacement or messing with the fence or whatever to try to get it fixed. Yeah. So anyways, getting back to racing, you had basically all the leaders who were like Scott Dixon and Rossi and guys like that. They all got cycled to the back because there was pit stops that they had to do right after that red flag. A couple of guys that didn't need pit stops, Ericsson, VK, Ward, Sato, Power, guys like that. So Will Power actually restarted in the lead in front of Marcus Ericsson. And then I don't have the rest of the restart order. This is just the stuff I'm remembering. A little later on, I think lap 45 or something, maybe 50, Scott McLaughlin had slid out and hit the wall in the second to last corner, I think. He was able to limp it back to the pit lane and get that fixed, but it was quite a weird crash. Generally you wouldn't expect cars to crash there unless they just flat out go wide. He had slid out the rear end, something. It was weird. But anyways, there wasn't really much action after that other than pit cycles or whatever. Ericsson was about 2.5 seconds behind Power, but eventually he ended up catching him, getting pretty close to his, pretty close to Power. And then Sato was third, eventually after passing VK. Then, with 6 or 7 laps to go, there was a crash. Roman Grosjean ended up crashing and bringing out a red flag, which is the thing I wanted to talk about, the controversy. There was no reason that crash should have brought out a red flag. It wasn't in a dangerous spot. They could have just, it was he had gone quite wide into the corner, if you can see here, on the replay. It didn't look to me like there was any need to, put out a red flag for that. You can just put out a full course yellow and move his car back a little bit and, get everything dealt with there. But for some reason, they brought out a full red flag. As I say, for some reason. There's a reason, but it has nothing to do with safety. They basically brought out a full red flag so that they'd have more time to get everything cleaned up and have as many laps as possible for the finish. Though that ended up causing some issues because they restarted them with 4 to go, and I guess they fired up the cars when it was technically 5 to go. Will Power, who was in the lead at that time, they couldn't get the car fired. So Will Power was in the lead, and because of a red flag, he ended up finishing 2 laps down here. Yeah, 3 laps down, actually. So that sucks for Power. He had led 30 or 40 laps and had been pretty much the dominant car from everything after the Rosenquist crash, and he lost the lead because of mechanical issues and a red flag. So here's a clip that was not shown to the NBC broadcast people because they basically shut off the broadcast as soon as the race ended. It's because they had to go to whatever was next on TV that had been delayed already. They didn't end up showing this clip of Will Power. He was mad. So here's Will Power's comments on the red flag being thrown and the procedures, actually, that took place after the red flag was thrown for getting fans on the car.
I'm mad at IndyCar because I'm the first car in and they wait for the last car to come to get a fan on that car and it roasts the ECU. And just going red flag for starters, the guys up there in race control never listen to any drivers. They never listen. They don't care. We've given them so many good suggestions and they don't care. And I worked my ass off today to have this happen. I'm screaming on the radio, we need a fan, get a fan.
And it wasn't for you, it was for the car.
Yeah, because the ECU always overheats. They wait for everyone. These guys have still got air coming in their car. You work your ass off in this sport. So much money goes into it, and it's just dumb decisions like that. Man, if it's not a yellow they throw, it's some stupid idea like this, a red flag. Yeah, he gets the same luck too, man.
Sorry, Will. Try again tomorrow, as you can see. And what you didn't see is the immense frustration from a race that was there and didn't come to fruition.
So clearly Power disagreed with the race officials on that call, and I 100% agree with him. The fact that the race control didn't allow his team to put a fan on the car until all the stragglers had came back in the pits, that's just insane. The fact that, the last guy coming into the pits gets a fan on their car as soon as they get in the pits and stop. Power had to wait probably a minute or so to get a fan on a roasting ECU, and it ended up killing his race. And originally on the NBC broadcast, they had just said radio clips of, can we get fans for the car? And to me, it sounded like he was asking for fans because like he was hot or whatever and he needed cooled off. Which originally I was like, yeah, get fans for him. But the fact that it was a engine issue that was going to kill his race if they didn't get fans on the car, and the race officials just flat out didn't let them get fans on the car for like a minute and a half, and just let the stuff bake in the sun, the heat of the engine, all that crap, that's just insane. So back to the rest of the video here. Ericsson inherited the lead then, and he ended up actually being able to cruise to a pretty easy win. So it's Ericsson's first win. I think that's cool for him, obviously. But like I said, not without controversy. And I think it's ironic that Roman Grosjean was the reason that happened. That Ericsson ended up winning his first race. If you know any F1 memes, you might have heard of the I think Ericsson hit us thing from, like, I think it was like Baku or something, like 2017.
Oh, he's just dropped it himself.
I think Ericsson hit us.
Yeah, it's quite a that's a meme, but I just think it's funny that Grosjean's the reason Ericsson won his first race. You know, just I don't know. It's just memes. It's stupid, but that's, I guess, really all that happened for the race itself. Ericsson obviously won. I think it's cool for him. It's his first win. They said it's his first win in anything since GP2 in 2013. So, I guess been a long time coming for Ericsson. I mean, he obviously didn't win any Grand Prix in F1, and hasn't won anything until today in his IndyCar career in his like 3 years or whatever. He was second at Belle Isle when he was with Schmidt-Peterson in 2018, 19? I think it was 19. So he's been close here before. It looks like it's one of his better tracks. But I guess good day for Ericsson. Just sucks that it had to come on that preface. Would have been nicer if he would have, would have been nicer if we would have had a 4-lap restart where Ericsson was able to pass Will Power and fend him off for the last 2 or 3 laps or whatever and actually win the race, like, legitimately. But I guess it's how racing goes. IndyCar, the IndyCar engines are not good at getting fired. Those things are super easy to stall. Like, there's guys that'll literally stall them in pit boxes, and they're super hard to get refired sometimes, and they're easy to, the way those cars get fired, it's easy to literally wear down the mechanics to where you can't fire the engine anymore. And apparently with Power's car, it was an engine control unit, ECU issue, but still, maybe whenever we get the next engine regs or something, they need to figure out some way to get like onboard starters on there or whatever that are more reliable than the offboard crap that they have now and stuff that may have less issues. Yeah. So second was Rinus VeeKay. I think he came from like 3rd or 4th or something off that restart. So quite a good restart from VeeKay. He ended up actually having quite the battle with Pato O'Ward in the last lap, or like half a lap or whatever. So that was cool to watch. Like I said, Pato O'Ward 3rd. He actually started from pole, so I didn't mention that. But yeah, O'Ward started from pole, so lost 3 spots. But still, Pato was in contention most of the day. He was like 3rd, I think. So yeah, it wasn't like Pato was coming out of nowhere. He probably could have finished better than 3rd with the power issues. Probably would have been 2nd or something, but he ended up losing a couple spots on that restart. 4th, Takuma Sato. He ended up restarting 2nd, if I remember correctly. Sato looked like he was going to be the benefactor from the red flag, especially after Power's issues. Looked like Sato, who was already, he had gained Sato had gained like 10 or 12, 15 spots or something from where he started in 16th. And it looked like Sato was going to be able to pretty easily pass Ericsson. Just he was like 10 seconds behind at the time of the red flag. It looked like if he ever got to Ericsson, he was probably going to be able to pass him. But it wasn't even close. Sato lost spots in the restart, so that was interesting. 5th, Graham Rahal. Wasn't exactly much of a factor today. He was able to slowly climb his way up 15 spots from his starting spot in 20th. 21st, Santino, another Rahal Letterman Lanigan car, gaining a bunch of spots. Again, 15. Santino was 21st starting. A good day for the Rahal cars. I guess they need to be able to qualify better. If they can qualify better tomorrow, they can get fast 12, like fast 6 or whatever. The Rahal team is going to be a threat to win, but they just need to get better starting spots. They can't win if they're going to be starting from 20th or whatever. It's just, you can't, like, especially Belle Isle. It's like the Monaco of IndyCar. Not as extreme, but, like, it's quite hard to pass here. 7th, Alexander Rossi. He started second and he was pretty much a factor. I think he'd actually been leading until the red flag for Rosenquist's crash. So Rossi needs to catch a break at some point. It's like he's not doing as well as he had been in the last 2 or 3 years before this. 2020 and 21 both have been quite bad for him. He needs, I don't think he's won since 2019. Just Rossi needs to have some point where he can catch a break, win a race, do well in 3 or 4 straight races. It's just not looking great for Rossi right now unless he can do something. Maybe tomorrow he'll be able to do something. He qualified second, and if he can, like, actually have a strategy that doesn't kind of get ruined by the progression of red flags or, I guess, yellow flags or whatever, I think Rossi will be contender tomorrow if he can get a good starting position. 8th, Scott Dixon. He was leading at the time of the red flag, though that was really on pit strategy. Dixon, I think he had gotten as high as like 4th or 5th or something, like during like actual racing, and then he must have fallen back on the red flag restart. So interesting day for Dixon. He wasn't in any way contending for the win or whatever. He was more of kind of there for points, I guess. Just at least the way the race progressed. 9th, Ed Jones. Ed Jones had started 4th, so I guess it's better. He lost 5 spots, but I'd say it's still an okay day for Ed. Yeah. 10th, Joseph Newgarden. Obviously, we'd already talked about that, the recovery from the, like, tire just falling off of his car in, like, the first 10 laps of the race or whatever. I'd say still a good race from Newgarden. 11th, Sebastian Bourdais. He was quite fast in the practice session and looked like he was going to be fast in qualifying, but just couldn't get a good lap. He started 10th and finished 11th, so just kind of wasn't able to move much from where he had started. 12th, Pagenaud. Wasn't much of a factor. 13th, Connor Daly. I actually didn't, realize Daly ever. I don't think they ever mentioned him on the broadcast or whatever. Yeah, Daly wasn't much of a factor at all. Herta, 14th. I don't know. Again, kind of same with Daly. A lot of these guys down here, they're not at the point where they're at the bottom of the pack and they're gonna be talking about why they're still out on the track or whatever, but they're also not up at the top where, they're gonna be considering race strategy and who's gonna win or whatever, stuff like that. Interesting day for Herta. 15th, Alex Palou. Speaking of guys with an interesting day, Palou had qualified 21st, and due to a grid penalty from changing his engine after carb day in the 500, he started dead last on the grid. So really wasn't a good day for Palou. He finished 15th. He was really a non-factor all day. He still managed to retain the points lead, though, from Dixon and O'Ward, which is surprising because O'Ward was 3rd. It's still looking like Palou, O'Ward, Dixon for the championship this year, which I guess I still can't exactly fathom that Palou and O'Ward are competing for, have a legitimate chance of winning the championship. And that Newgarden, Rossi, Power, Pagenaud, the Penske guys just aren't anywhere. That's still weird for me. Other notable things that happened, obviously Will Power, he led 37 laps today. I still think Power should have won that race, at least the way it was turning out. You never know, Ericsson might have passed him, but it really sucks that Power ended up getting his race destroyed by a red flag. 23rd, Romain Grosjean. he had started third, but he kind of just fell back throughout the entire race and ended up, like I said, crashing and causing that red flag. So it really wasn't a good day for Oman. 25th, Jimmy, or 24th, sorry, Jimmy. I mean, obviously he's not really ever going to be a factor for race wins or anything, but he had some type of mechanical issue that he went like 20 laps down with or whatever, and just kind of rode around for the rest of the race. They did say during the red flag, because they had already had that mechanical issue, they wanted Jimmy to be out there for practice time, but they weren't going to be trying to do any type of, like, they weren't out there for points. At that point, they were just out there for practice time for qualifying in the race tomorrow. Yeah, 25th, Felix Rosenquist. He had actually gotten taken to the hospital from that crash, but he was okay, awake, and alert after the incident, which I guess that's good. That's the first thing you look for when you have a crash like that, is the driver okay? And he was. Haven't heard anything yet about Rosenquist's condition, so I don't know if he might have some type of broken bone. Questionable whether or not he'll race tomorrow, but yeah. That's really all I have for today. It was a better Belle Isle race than generally, but it wasn't great. And the red flag thing still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I still think Power should have won that race. As much as I'm not like a Power fan or whatever, but I don't have anything majorly against Will, and he should have won the race the way it worked out. And just the progression of the race kind of ruined it for him. But yeah, that's about all I've got. I'll obviously be doing a race review after the race tomorrow, but I won't be doing any type of qualifying thing or anything like that, like I hadn't done anything today. Yeah, that's really all I've got. I know I have a Formula E review that I'm going to be putting out sometime next week, but that'll come out just whenever I get the chance. It'll probably be Monday if I don't have anything else to put out, if there's no major news or whatever. But yeah, that's really all I've got for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.